The JUCE framework has announced some breaking changes in their roadmap update for Q3 25. All of the information is subject to change and thus should not be taken as a promise, but it just outlines the team's current plan. This matters for audio developers as well as musicians themselves, because most audio plugins out there are made with JUCE. JUCE is a C++ based framework and it's cross-platform and supports various plugin formats, as well as standalone software. Which brings me to the first point on the page, clap support. Clap is still a new plugin format, only supported by a few DAWs, but it aims to get integrated everywhere. One of Clap's most outstanding features is that every parameter's value can have infinitely many variations of it. For example, if it was a fine-tune pitch parameter on a synth oscillator, attaching a randomizer to the parameter with your DAW would automatically spawn as many unique randomizers as there are active voices in the synth. I like the idea to have even more communication about the architecture of a plugin with its host for features like this. I think the idea could be extended even more though. For example, what if a plugin format decided that every pitch class must have a unique temperament value? That would enable DAW developers to make the temperament of each pitch class a unique parameter of its project, even automatable, just like the BPM. Every plugin would be given this information without forcing the user to set up anything else, set and forget. Another innovation planned by the JUCE team is to introduce an official JUCE Marketplace, which is actually an idea that I expressed in the forum before. I don't know what exactly the JUCE Marketplace will look like because I am not part of the beta team, but I always envision it to be the next generation of the producer. If you are not a dev, the producer is an application that can be used to generate plugin projects with JUCE. It has been criticized a lot in the past for being less versatile than CMake, which could be described as an application that builds C++ projects in general. However, using CMake is error-prone because you have to describe the entire build process perfectly. And the producer already does that, even if it's not 100% flexible about it. That's why I envisioned a future version of it, which enables its user to define own templates for their plugins and apps, and with a marketplace where modules written by the JUCE community can be bought, downloaded and directly added to a project with ease. Working with third-party libraries in C++ can be quite a hassle. That's why I believe such a feature could vastly improve the workflow and lead to more complex plugins that fuse the collected wisdom of its entire community. If the marketplace is not going to be part of the application that manages the project, it's not going to be as easy to use as it could be. The roadmap has some more points I'm not too interested in, but there is one last thing that is worth talking about. Support for sample-accurate parameters as part of the MIDI 2.0 support. I don't want to talk about MIDI 2.0 now, but let's check out an example situation in which sample-accurate parameters would make a difference. This is just a single oscillator in Serum 2, visualized by an oscilloscope with a window of exactly 1/4 note. When you only play a single note, you can see that it resets its phase for each note, making the waveform consistently repeatable. Now there is an LFO ramping from 0 to 100% in the time of exactly 1/4 note. It also produces a consistently repeatable waveform because the modulation matches the length of the oscilloscope's window. Now I draw the same shape into an automation on macro 1. If I now remove the LFO and instead attach the macro to the parameter, I do not receive a consistently repeatable waveform anymore. And of course, it also sounds different. This shows that parameters are not interpreted at the same resolution as internal modulation systems in most plugins. Every audio interface comes with an application like this, which lets you adjust the latency. The higher the latency, the longer the blocks of audio that are being passed into the plugins to be processed by them. In JUCE, a plugin's parameter updates are only processed at the start of each block, so the more latency you choose, the less accurate your automations become. That is problematic, because it forces users to bounce stuff to audio to not get distracted by the unintended processing inconsistencies. If it was solved, users would have more non-destructive workflows available. But if you are a developer, you might be wondering, what might your own audio code look like then? So far, we could just pull the parameter values at the start of each block, update our DSP classes, maybe add some parameter smoothing here and there, but mostly call it a day and focus on the audio processing. With parameter updates being scattered across the block, however, we will have to treat them more like events. Gladly, we already have an event system like that in our JUCE projects, the MIDI buffer. That's why I laid out this piece of code here to demonstrate what I think the event handling will be like most of the time. It will always start by reading the event loop, which will contain both MIDI and parameter events. For each event, the sub-block from the current sample index to the event's timestamp is being processed. Then the event can trigger actions. The remaining samples are being processed with an empty event at the end. I'm currently using this dummy sysax event for that. I also implemented a maximum block size for my plugins, which massively reduces the need to dynamically allocate arrays, but that's a topic for a different video. Here's some example code showing what the implementation of some algorithm could look like, building up on this event-based structure. Up here I added some static variables to my processor class. A phasor's phase, various increment speeds, an envelope and its decay speed. Don't ever use static variables like that. This would fall apart once you load more than one instance of the plugin. It's good enough for this little demonstration though and gives us great overview on the entire process. In the processing code, I take the left audio channel and loop from 0 to num samples within the sub-block we made, not the full block of this process. So we know there is no event happening during this time. We synthesize a cosine wave into the audio buffer with our phasor and the envelope, and then we increment their values with inc and decay. At the end of the sub-block, we process the event. In this case, it resets the envelope and the phasor. Then we copy the results to the right channel. Can you guess what this is? It is a simple algorithmic kick synthesizer. And the event-based setup made the final implementation to the algorithm very straightforward and readable. That's why I believe sample-accurate parameters will also make our code look more like that. It makes me wonder what else could become part of this event system. For example, so far we've been working with PPQ and BPM as our transport properties with values taken from the start of each block, just like we work with parameters. This regularly leads to confusion among audio development beginners, who need to wrap their head around the fact that they have to extrapolate the PPQ themselves to get a continuous curve, which is needed to find the musical intervals. Wouldn't it be nice if those intervals were events too? The challenge would lie in providing an interface for the plugin developer to dynamically select which intervals they are interested in. Maybe it could even consider swing, but it would make more sense to me if plugin format developers did the first step in that direction by enforcing doors to inform plugins about the project swing, to make it globally available without having to add it as a plugin parameter. Alright, those are my thoughts on the current JUCE roadmap. I'm very excited about the settings I mentioned from it and the way they will develop. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. I would love to see opinions to come together, both from users and devs. Also let me know which of the points you are looking forward to most.